Hello, hey, hi, how you doing? Mitchell Lee, Connor Vandermark, Nick Izzo here with you. This is the weekly recess here on Jersey Nerds Productions. And guys, this week was weird because it challenged a lot of our preconceived notions of teams, the direction in which they were going. And let's just go ahead and dive right in. I think a good place to start would be kind of the night games. We'll start with Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles, 3 straight losses. They were 10-1, and now they are 10-4. Losing to San Francisco and Dallas is one thing. You lose to Drew Lock and the Seahawks, who looked like they were kind of in free fall, is a completely different thing.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, I can definitely say that I am fully off of the Eagles bandwagon. I don't even know, depending on their first round matchup, they could lose round one. This defense is certainly not something to be proud of on the back end. It doesn't matter who the defensive coordinator is. They're just old and don't have the guys. And also, Jalen Hurts just doesn't really. We talked about it before. He doesn't look like he trusts what he's seeing out there, and it shows.
No, it definitely does. And like, I guess the one you could consider as a benefit, like they do have a very weak schedule coming up, so like they can try to work out their kinks against some very lesser opponents. Sorry, Nick, but like the Giants are probably gonna get mopped up by the Eagles. If the
Don't they
Giants
play
beat
the
the
Giants twice
Very
in the
they
well.
last
twice,
Yeah,
three
very aware
weeks?
of that. Yeah,
that's why I said lesser.
that should happen. Yeah,
That's why I said two lesser
it's going to be a
opponents,
get
not
right game
three.
for them. Yeah, that's going to be their tune-up. Um, yeah, I can't say I'm overly impressed with the Eagles as I used to be. But obviously, still being in the same division with them, yeah, I have a feeling that they're gonna play the Giants and then magically find their offense again. Because that's just what tends to happen. Um, so yeah, looking forward to that.
Also, I am kind of curious. I'm not making excuses for the Eagles or anything, but I'm very curious how sick Hertz was coming into this game, because from what I heard, that he actually had his own flight going out to Seattle, so he wouldn't get the rest of the team sick.
Mm.
So that if it was that serious, like whatever it was, the flu or whatever he was going through, like that's not fun to deal with. And then going playing a professional football game with that, yeah. Like I'll give him props for
You know
playing,
what's
but
weird though? Hertz didn't really throw the ball well at all. I mean, 17 for 31, 143, 2 interceptions. It's not at I don't think he played as bad as that stat line showed, but this was the first time I think all season where he looked to be looking to run the ball.
he ran for
I
what
mean,
84 yards. Like he
82
played
yards
great.
on 13 carries, 2 touchdowns, and that's the first time this year, because it seemed to me like last year it was Jalen Hurts. He can beat you on the ground, he can beat you through the air, and this year he was very reluctant to run the ball. But that wasn't really the case against Seattle. He got it done there. It just through the air, nothing happened. But you can't really the NFC East, man. Does anyone want to win this thing? Just when you think, okay, the Eagles, they caught a break, the Cowboys lost, the Eagles give it right back to them, but the Cowboys got demolished 31-10 by the Buffalo Bills in a game where Josh Allen threw for 94 yards. They
You
beat
called
them
it.
on the ground. 266 yards, 3 touchdowns. James Cook showed up huge. Ty Johnson ran the ball well, and Joe Brady is unlocking a different side to this Bills offense. But before we get to the Bills, Seahawks kind of wild card team conversation, NFC East, Cowboys, Eagles. What worried you most? Was it the Cowboys going on the road and losing, or the Eagles going on the road and losing?
I would say probably the Eagles, because at least the
Yeah,
Bills, like they have that pedigree of, oh, we have a stellar offense, and their defense, generally speaking, has been very well. They've been a little less this year due to injuries, but like they have been performing quite well. The Seahawks, I see them as they are a good team, but I don't consider them as a contender at all. Like if you asked me to pick like, oh, who's your top 5 picks to win the Super Bowl, I don't think there would be even 7. Like they are very much on the outside looking in, and I don't really have confidence of seeing how well Drew Lock, what the hell? Yeah, it's Drew Lock, right?
Yeah.
Seeing how, it's Drew Lock who's throwing balls to great catch by JSN, but him putting in those spots, how can you let a team like Seattle in this game when you're supposed to be the dominant team?
Yeah, it was a dominant performance there.
And Tommy's here, so hi, Tommy.
Just to get it out of the way, Tom, we will get to it. We have not discussed it yet, but we will get to it. But right now,
Look, I don't want you guys to have to go through another emotional.
No. We're gonna talk about the Dolphins. We will get to it. I don't know if we're gonna talk about the other side of the football very much. But we will talk about the Dolphins. Yeah, I'm worried about the Philadelphia Eagles to an alarming degree. Dallas's loss does concern me a lot though because of how they lost. They lost in a way where they were not able to move the ball, and it seemed like Dak Prescott's MVP candidacy disappeared overnight, and I don't agree with that. I don't agree with one game taking him out completely because this is a season-long award, and I don't agree with that. However, I do think that he has been passed by Brock Purdy. You know, say what you will about Purdy and how important he is to the team, whether he's the best offensive player, all that stuff. He's going to have the numbers to back it up. He'll have the wins. and I think Christian McCaffrey will have a lot to say about that as well, and maybe they spill over into each other's votes, and it ends up going to someone like Dak or Tyreek as a result. But Dallas got out physicaled by the Bills, and they lost outside in a cold weather environment, which does not bode well for them. But in the NFC, maybe they can get away with that because the only road games that Dallas would have to play in a cold environment would be going to Philly. And I think if they have to go to Philly, that means that they've beaten San Francisco already. Because if they're the 5 seed, then they're probably, well, I guess if a 6 or 7 seed wins. But yeah, Philly is really the only road environment outside in the cold that they'd have to go to. San Francisco, not cold. Detroit, inside. Tampa, not cold. New Orleans, in a dome. And any other opponent, they'd be at home.
Yeah.
So it would just be Philadelphia, and I think that Dak could carve up the Eagles secondary even in Lincoln Financial Field.
Isn't Seattle outside? That's how we wait.
I mean, this will definitely be the week they both bounce back because I can see Dallas taking Miami, and Eagles are up against New York.
We already covered that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, definitely covered that part.
I would like to say it should be an easy victory.
Dallas is fascinating to me in this Miami game because the Dolphins. Well, let's just go ahead and get into it now. They win 30-0 over the New York Jets. They do it without Tyreek Hill. Tua, I don't think he really had to. I mean, he played well, but he just kind of took what was given to him. Apart from that deep bomb to Jalen Waddle, which was a perfectly thrown ball. And it showed, just how good Jalen Waddle is. But the Dolphins really didn't have to do much to win this game because the Jets didn't really seem to want it. And that's kind of been the story of the Dolphins season thus far, is you've played a lot of weak opposition, and you've beaten them handedly for the most part. You've had some, like the Giants game or the Raiders game, where it was a little bit dicey. But for the most part, the Dolphins have played weak opposition, and they've smothered them. The story is, can you beat good teams? And the story for Dallas is, can you go on the road in tough environments and win? They lost to San Francisco by a lot. They lost to Philadelphia. They lost to Buffalo. Road environments. It's Dallas at Miami. So one of these teams is going to find a way to kind of buck the trend or kind of break up everything that's
Well,
been saying
I mean,
that
not to
everyone's
be
been saying
biased,
against
but
them. Either you can't win on the road or you can't beat good teams.
I mean, not to be biased against Miami, but I mean, this was definitely the first week where Miami was put to the test of can we actually be good even without Tyreek Hill? Because the entire season, the entire talk has been about Tyreek Hill and how he's carried this team. And this week they were able to show, hey, we got plenty of other assets that are just as good, like Mostert, who is a fucking beast in this game, just touchdown after touchdown. And I think it was kind of just a good thing to say, like, hey, we actually have good players. We can put up a fight. Granted, I still don't think they have a good chance against the actually good teams of the NFL right now. It'll definitely be a challenge, but we don't have to sit there and go, if it doesn't go Tyreek Hill, we're going to lose.
I don't know. That's the game that gives me the most back and forth of the week. So I'm probably going to lean Miami just because Dallas, I don't know if they have the answers for Tyreek Hill. I don't know. If Tyreek does not play, I do think this will be the you can't beat this team without Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I'm curious what Miami's going to do in this situation because I can see them holding Tyreek back for another week just to make sure he's healthy. Because next week we're going up against Ravens, and the week after
Let's
that
go
we're
ahead
going
and
up against Bills. Both teams that can definitely destroy the shit out of us. So I would almost rather them take the chance with Dallas and hold Tyreek back for another week just to keep him healthy
let's
for
go
those
ahead and
last
get
two
into those
games.
Baltimore Ravens then. They go on the road and they handle their business against the Jaguars 23-7. Lamar Jackson, the stats might not show it, but he was great against Jacksonville, and the Jaguars kind of shot themselves in the foot at a bunch of different turns in this game. The Ravens are very, very much in the driver's seat as far as the 1 seed goes, and they have a delightful game coming up on Christmas night. Get ready, get the family together, and watch the Baltimore Ravens at the San Francisco 49ers. That's going to be a treat to watch. Baltimore Ravens as the 1 seed. Do you buy them as the AFC favorite? And the Jacksonville Jaguars, tied at 8-6 with 3 other teams, do they need to be worried?
Ravens, yes, they are the cream of the crop for the AFC. Like the Chiefs were the previous, kings of that conference, but Chiefs have not looked themselves. As we know, the wide receiver room has not been performing, and the drama that is Kadarius Toney still lives on. But when it comes to Ravens are finding a groove where they're getting the weapons. No, they're getting the weapons involved in a way that it's a team to me that pretty much can beat anyone. I know that when it comes to they're not who's the other running back, not Gus Edwards, the other guy. He just
Keaton
tore his
Mitchell.
yeah, that
Yeah,
hurts. He
that's
tore
a
his
gigantic
Oh my god,
ACL.
that play was so disgusting.
Oh,
Yeah,
those
it
two
was
screamers, do not watch that.
I'm kind of surprised it was just a torn ACL because it looked a lot worse.
Just a torn ACL.
1,000 times worse.
I cringe. I can handle most injuries, but watching the replay of that, I squirmed. That just even thinking about it right now,
The
I
Ravens
can't
are
imagine
interesting
the pain.
because they are not like, especially with Mark Andrews out, and maybe he comes back in the playoffs. I think that there's actually a strong chance that he will come back in the playoffs. But Isaiah Likely was the guy in this game. But whether
Yep.
it's Likely, whether it's Odell Beckham, whether it's Zay
Flowers,
Flowers,
man.
they
Yep.
have a lot of guys that, and it's just kind of, they don't have a Stephon Diggs type where it's like, hey, you need to be getting me at least 10 targets a game, or I'm going to blow up about it, or I demand this amount because, like Jamar Chase, if he gets 5 targets in a game, you're like, all right, what's going on? They need to be drawing up some targets for him. The Ravens, it's just, hey, we're going to run our offense, and whoever's open, that's who we're getting the ball to. And
winning-
it works for them, and they're winning because of it.
they're winning by committee, and everybody's just doing their part. And it's honestly like it's not the right, I don't think it's the right term, but like good like blue collar football. Like, oh, we're just going to come in here, do our job, keep working. Like they are definitely my front runner right now. I'd be very happy to see them rematch the 49ers. No, this upcoming Christmas game for the Super Bowl. I'd be a nice Super Bowl preview on Monday.
Justin Madubuike also is a very underrated player. Should be a household name, but he is just the space eater in the front. And yeah, treat to watch in the front for the Ravens, as most of their defenders are. Now moving to the Jacksonville Jaguars and the South, and I'll just open this up. AFC South, NFC South. We've kind of just cracked on the NFC South for being a trash division that no one knows what's going on. But the AFC South, better play, sure, but it's just as up for grabs, if not more so. There are 3 teams tied at 8-6 in the AFC South, 2 teams tied at 7-7 in the NFC South. So, who rules the South at the end of the day? AFC and NFC. Let me hear it.
I want to say the Texans. Well,
I'm gonna say AFC.
The other thing, the
But-
team.
The team, Tommy.
I was gonna say,
What
like, what?
team?
I don't know the team
I
AFC
think-
is, but
I picked the AFC. Come on, man. You're better than this. Okay.
Yeah, AFC.
I would say the Texans.
Enough
I
from the
think-
clown.
Yes.
Hey, I got to do something while I'm here.
Yeah, the
Connor,
Texans.
go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
gonna go Jaguars.
And
Yeah,
the
Texans.
I'm going Texans as well for the AFC.
NFC, really?
NFC,
Okay, 'cause Stroud's not playing
Really?
this week. It doesn't seem like.
I understand that, and either way, I think that the Texans as a team. I know that they got drubbed by the Jets last week, but I think overall they are finding their stride, and I think their defense is definitely serviceable. Where they are.
I mean, the
Well,
stride
thing
at
is,
the
when
end
you
of the
come-
season.
Exactly. At the end of the season, getting to a point where your offense is clicking, even with the injuries you're going through. Your defense, which has been well known for the past couple of years as a laughable system, now has been putting up decent numbers. You know, keeping the opponent close to them. Like, I think that when Stroud gets back and healthy, like they play the Browns this week, which is with Joe Flacco, who the hell knows? But like
It's
the
also
Titans,
the Browns defense with Case Keenum.
yeah, like it'd be nice to have Stroud in that game. But honestly, if I was the coach, I would let him take the Browns off, get him, make sure he's 100% for the Titans and Colts because those games do matter when it comes to tie breaks, and especially the Colts they're fighting for that spot with. But I think that overall, as a complete team, I think the Texans are the one compared to everybody else. I guess the only one I'll say otherwise, as we've been definitely on this podcast, I have a soft spot for the Buccaneers, and I definitely do think they win the NFC South.
Man,
But
they look good.
I-
Baker was baking.
those two teams look the most complete teams to me. Having Singletary has been going off for the Texans, you have Rashad White for the Buccaneers. Like they all have weapons, and when I think they're going to be if a team draws them in the first round, it ain't going to be easy. It isn't like the Texans of old, and I'm happy to say that because they went through some real crap in the past couple years.
So you're on record, Texans and Buccaneers.
Yes, sir.
I will jump in and add one more thing. If you're looking at their schedules, the Colts and Texans have pretty evenly matched teams for the next 3 games. The Jaguars are the only ones that only have 2 evenly matched because their third game is against the fucking Panthers, which is basically a guaranteed win.
You said the
Unless you royally
Jaguars
fuck up.
or the Bucks?
Jags.
The Jaguars are
Hey, that's
going
the
up
Panthers-
against the Panthers
That's a Panthers team.
for one of their
That's a Panthers team that
for one of their
beat
final 3
Falcons,
games.
Don't forget that.
Yeah, I don't know how much they won that game versus Atlanta
Look,
losing it.
Yeah, I think Atlanta lost more than Panthers
That
won.
that is giving my edge to Jaguars just because they have a slightly
But
easier
they're
schedule
playing
for the rest of
in
the season.
Tampa, and they're going to lose that.
I agree. I think Tampa wins that game. I
Pains me
am
to say,
going.
but I agree with that.
You have you've Houston and Tampa.
I do, and I don't like Baker Mayfield, but I think out of the South, that's the best team you got. For a lot of the
love
reasons
it.
that Connor laid out before, like you have Rashad White, you have Mike Evans, Mike motherfucking Evans, who just year after year gets 1,000 yards. I mean, dude's a stud. They got to be the favorites.
I have Tampa making it out of the NFC South as well. I think that Baker, you want to talk about someone hitting their stride at the right time. Baker Mayfield, oh my God, just really, 3 straight wins, 2 straight wins on the road. Now they go to Jacksonville, and I think this is where people are going to really take notice. I think they enter the playoffs. They could enter the playoffs on a 6-game win streak, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep, I would not be either.
AFC South, I think the Texans with a healthy CJ Stroud are the best team. But they don't have a healthy CJ Stroud right now, and they have to go to they face Cleveland. And I think the Browns are going to win that game, and I think Jacksonville's going to squeak out the division. I think the Texans still make the playoffs, but I think Jacksonville finds a way to hold on to that AFC South crown and the 4 seed in that division.
I do see it could be a real possibility. It'll be fun to watch. Like I can definitely see a real scenario where like Colts and Texans are pulling each other for the last wild card spot. It's like a winning getting kind of situation.
Gardner Minshew, man, they've been finding a way to win games. Also, the way these playoffs work, teams just kind of float in and out of the hunt graphic, and the Steelers seem like a team that we don't really need to take that seriously anymore. Between their quarterback issues, they just can't move the ball, and their defense hasn't really stopped anybody lately. The Broncos certainly took a huge loss to the Lions. The Packers can't stop anything. Whether it's Tommy Cutlets or Baker Mayfield, they are now 6-8. The Falcons trusted Desmond Ridder to go on the road and beat the Panthers, and that was just too much to ask. So the Falcons appear to be done. Is there any team in the wild card right now or in that hunt that you go, and I think it's easy to say Buffalo, because I love the Buffalo Bills. Everybody seems to love the Buffalo Bills right now. So I'm going to go ahead and take Buffalo and put.
You can't.
I'm
hate
sure
the
you
Buffalo
can,
Bills.
but I don't. But let's just go ahead and put
No,
Buffalo
you
in a
can't.
different category right now in the wild card. That's a cheap answer. What wild card team that is not Buffalo do you go look at and go, maybe, just maybe they could go on a run? Maybe not to the Super Bowl or something, but like maybe they can like surprise people, knock off a top team, maybe get to a conference championship game.
Wild card again. It has to be the Texans to me, unless it's since
I
like
was gonna say the same thing.
Cincinnati is kind of spiraling right now, but
Are they?
hey,
Jake Browning looks good.
as in like injury wise, no, you lost Burrow.
Chase and Reader.
Yeah,
Reader is not a small loss.
like no, they had again like the Colts are in the hunt. The Jaguars, of course, they've been having issues. They beat them. They beat the Vikings, which was a really good game, surprisingly. And then they had the Steelers, Chiefs, and Browns. Not an easy schedule. The Steelers, I think they win because they are now like ripped to Mike Tomlin and his wonderful record that he had. When it comes to over 500 seasons, but that's gonna be gone. The Chiefs game, we'll see. Like honestly, this might be a situation where it's going to be a coin toss between like it might be a situation where it's like, oh, we have what, a 10-6 team possibly being on the outside looking in, looking at this.
Yeah.
Because I think because the AFC is a pretty strong division. And overall, I think I don't have it in front of me right now, but like versing the NFC conference, they just bully them.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's gonna be weird. It'd be a really weird situation where you have a 500 team getting in the NFC and then like teams that look really good just squeaking in on the AFC.
Does anyone want to see the Los Angeles Rams? That seems
No, I
so.
don't care about
Fuck
them.
you. That seems to
I
me
can't
like
say care for them either.
that seems like the team to me that
See, Nick's on my
could
side.
spoil a season for somebody. Matt Stafford's playing really well right now. And
He
this is the
is.
first time in Matt Stafford's career where he has a running game. Because Kyron Williams is giving him juice. And, well, maybe juice isn't the right word because he's not really that type of back. He's not the quick type, but he's got tremendous vision and just knows where to go. They're blocking well between Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp. They've got some good young players on the defense. Aaron Donald's still playing very well. And they've been there before. McVay is a coach that has delivered a title to the Rams and had playoff success. So I think the Rams.
So do you see the Rams? Do you see the Rams beating
I
the Saints?
think the
this
Rams
week?
beat the Saints by double digits. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The
Okay.
Rams are 7-7. They've been hot. Matt Stafford's played well. I think they'll get into the playoffs. Then again, I said that about the Packers. And as soon as I said that, they fell off a damn cliff and forgot how to play defense. So we'll see.
So are you saying this purposely to destroy
That's
the
not
Rams'
really what I'm trying to
future
do,
career?
but it's probably what I'm going to end up doing. But the Rams, to me
That's fair.
personally, seem like if they went into Detroit and beat the Lions, or they went into even Philadelphia and beat the Eagles, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, like they've been very like in every game they had so far this season, they've been very competitive. Like, I guess let's see, yeah, like they had a close game against the Ravens, only lost by a score against them. No, and then before that they had their string. They had the Stafford, and like when they lost, it was when Stafford was hurt, and and Cooper Kupp had his injury issues. Like once they got right the ship a little bit when it comes to the injury side, they've been looking very very good.
They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and they finish up against the Saints. Then they get the Giants, and I hate to sound like
Probably win.
we're
there,
ganging up on you, Nick, but I think they're going to win
No,
that
no,
game.
no. We're being realistic.
And
I want people to
then
understand that I am a realistic fan.
and
I am
then
not
they end the
unrealistic.
season at San Francisco. And I know what you're thinking. Well, yeah, naturally they're going to lose that game. Niners might be resting starters that week.
They might have already clinched the.
They might have clinched the 1 seed, have nothing to play for,
yeah,
and
I agree.
and they're playing Sam Darnold and the backups for the majority of that game. So I don't rule out the chance that the Rams end this thing on a 4-game win streak, having won 7 of their last 8, a red-hot team with the, again, experienced team that's been there before at a lot of their top players have championship experience. Now, they have a lot of players, obviously, that are younger guys. I think the Rams came into the season with lower expectations because of that, but they're going to be red hot at the right time, and the NFC is going to be slim pickings as far as the wild card goes. You're going to get either Dallas or Philadelphia, and then the rest, I think you've got the Rams, and I think everyone's praying the Vikings get in because the Vikings scare nobody right now with their quarterback situation. The Saints, I could see making something happen if the stars align and Alvin Kamara's got a good running game. They're just a pesky team, but I don't know if they really scare anybody. The Seahawks, I mean, I could see again. They're not going to get blown out, I don't think, but I can't see them going into a Detroit or Dallas and winning in a playoff setting. The Packers can't defend anybody right now.
There's large tier gaps.
The Falcons, LOL. Like, I just...
Yeah. There are some large tier gaps
strange.
within
What do you mean? Arthur
conference.
Smith knows how to run that team. Obviously,
I see we've
that's
I see we've reached the get stupid part of the podcast today. Hey, they know how to play. They know how to play defense.
Look, that's
in
my
Atlanta.
job.
I'm just saying
Easy
they
there.
haven't really figured out the offense part just yet. So very different than a lot of Matt Ryan's teams, where it was like, hey, we can score 40, we can also give up 45.
Yep.
I forgot to.
Look, who's to say Tommy DeVito's agent doesn't pull some strings and have some people taken out of the game? We don't know what's going to happen.
Man, that's
Listen,
like
that guy
Yeah,
is a
what's he gonna do?
buffoon. He is putting on a charade.
I don't know, but he has taken Taylor Swift's spot in the press of the NFL lately, and I think it's fucking hysterical. As all Jersey boys, we have to appreciate the hysterics behind Tommy DeVito's agent just full
It is
full
funny.
gear
But it
out
looks
on the
like he
field. I
got
think it's
that
great.
drip at like Spirit Halloween this past season. So
I know.
mean, it's
I
like
know it's fucking comical.
it's like
You
look,
don't-
we get it.
It is
You're
fucking
like we
comical.
get it. He's Italian. You don't have to dress like you're, about to star in a Martin Scorsese film. Like I don't get it.
He's enjoying his spot in his
He
moment in
is,
the
'cause
spotlight, and
They know that he's probably
he's
not going
embracing
to
it.
be a permanent
just-
starter.
I just love thinking about this guy going like, yeah, I just got a new suit. Hey, man, that looks really good. Where'd you get that from? Spirit Halloween. It's December 20th. Where did you f-
$29.95.
Where did you
I got
Where
it from
did you
fucking
find a
Kohl's. They
Spirit
had a
Halloween
special.
on December 20th? Don't
He
worry
knows
about
a
it.
guy.
My Uncle
knows the
Rico
guy.
got one.
Yeah, like-
He knows a guy.
Yeah. How about shut your fucking mouth? Nobody asked you, huh?
You don't go
Where I
full.
get-
You don't.
Where'd I get my clothes? Fuck you.
You don't go full gabagool.
Hey, your jersey's still pretty good,
Thank
Mitchell.
you.
I'm
Thank
impressed.
You. It never left me.
The South hasn't
Mitchell, have
taken
you
it
been
away
back
from
to
me
New
yet.
Jersey since you left?
It just goes to show you. It just goes to show you can't.
Sorry,
take the
before
jersey out of
Tommy
the
said
true
some
Jersey
dumb
boy.
shit. Nick, what were you saying?
I was saying, have you been back to Jersey since you left?
I actually went around this time last year. I went to the I went
And you didn't
it
fucking
was
see us. You
in and out.
asshole.
I went to the Jets game. I actually
Oh, okay.
drove by my old house, which was strange to drive in South Brunswick, New Jersey, after only being there when I was like a kid. But no, it was nice.
Homo Mosanu, by the way.
Yeah, just curious.
Who?
Mosanu.
Oh, okay.
Muhammad-
You said that
yeah.
so quickly. I was like, home of what?
I heard
Most-
I heard Mosanu.
Mosanu.
Like as in one word. I was
I
like,
heard-
As they-
Mosanu.
I heard.
As being partially fluent in Connor speak, I understood that. So
I
I
heard
did
that-
hear you understand.
I
you,
heard
Connor.
home of most they do. I'm like,
Most
you're right. Most of them do something.
Me and Connor have bad
Uh,
stutters. We can't help
Most
it.
they do. All right.
Most
That
they do.
they're giving me the light. It's time to wrap it up. So, once we get to once we try to interpret
We have a
Connor's sayings, it's time to wrap it up and move on. Thank you for listening to the Jersey Nerds Productions weekly recess. Hey, football season is coming to a close, but there's still plenty to talk about, and we'll talk about that Ravens 49ers game next week. That'll be cool. That'll be fun. Goodbye.
I'm excited. Yeah. See ya.